All right, so Oklahoma versus Tennessee, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Got to talk about this one. I mean, this game had everything, right?
Sure did, especially for fans who love a good dose of drama with their football.
Oklahoma's first foray into the SEC, playing on their home turf, the weight of expectations, and then, well, it all kind of unraveled.
Unraveled might be an understatement.
I mean, let's be honest, their offense was, and I'm not exaggerating here, shockingly bad. We're talking less than 100 total offensive yards with just 12 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, and that's against a Tennessee team that, while good, isn't exactly known for having an impenetrable defense.
Right. It's Oklahoma, for crying out loud. They're supposed to be an offensive powerhouse.
Exactly. Coming into the SEC, everyone had them pegged as contenders. Instead, they get completely dominated at home. Not a good look.
It makes you wonder what went wrong, right? I mean, you've got to give some credit to Tennessee's defense. They stepped up. But still, this really raises questions about Oklahoma's offensive line. And of course, there's the quarterback situation.
That's the elephant in the room, isn't it?
Jackson Arnold, averaging a measly 5.6 yards per pass before this game, throws for a dismal 54 yards against Tennessee and gets benched. You could practically hear the collective groan from Norman.
Brutal.
And then what happens? They throw the true freshman, Michael Hawkins, into the fire. Tough spot for a young player.
Talk about trial by fire.
Yeah.
Especially with Oklahoma's schedule, they've got a gauntlet of games coming up. This is not the time for offensive uncertainty. Not if they want to salvage their season, that's for sure.
So if you're an Oklahoma fan, this game had to be a tough one to swallow. On the flip side, you've got Tennessee walking away with a win. Although, let's be real, it wasn't exactly the offensive clinic we've come to expect from them. Even Nico Iamaleava, with all the hype surrounding him, had a decent game, but not exactly Heisman-worthy.
And that's where the story gets really interesting. See, this wasn't just another win for Tennessee. This was Josh Heupel's return to Oklahoma. The program that, well, let's just say showed him the door a few years back.
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. So you're saying this wasn't just another win for Tennessee, this was personal.
Oh, absolutely.
You got to think that adds a whole other layer of, I don't know, intensity to the game.
Oh, without a doubt. Imagine the emotions running through Heupel's mind. Walking back into that stadium, not just as a visitor, but as a conqueror. It's the kind of story you couldn't script.
It's like something out of a movie. And you know what really struck me? It wasn't just about the win itself. It was the raw emotion in Heupel's voice when he talked about his mother, Cindy, looking down from above. You could just hear the weight of that moment.
Absolutely. Those human moments, that's what makes sports more than just a game. This wasn't just a strategic victory for Heupel. It was personal. And when you combine that with Tennessee's defensive performance, well, it paints a whole new picture, doesn't it?
Speaking of that defense, I mean, wow. Going into this game, everyone was talking about Tennessee's high-powered offense, but it was their defense that stole the show. Are we looking at a legitimate playoff contender here?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If Tennessee can maintain that level of defensive intensity, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Let's not forget, they held Oklahoma to less than 100 yards of total offense for a huge chunk of that game. That's almost unheard of.
It's like they flipped the script on everyone. Everyone was expecting a shootout, and we got a defensive masterclass.
Exactly. And let's not underestimate the psychological impact of this win. Beating Oklahoma in Norman, with all that history, all those emotions, that's a confidence boost you can't just manufacture. We've seen teams ride that kind of momentum all the way to a championship.
So where do we even go from here? This feels seismic, like this game just sent shockwaves through the SEC, maybe even the whole playoff picture. What are the big questions we should be asking ourselves after a game like this?
Well, for Oklahoma, it all comes back to the quarterback situation, doesn't it?
I mean, what do you even do if you're Venables?
Exactly. Do you stick with Arnold after that performance, hoping he can bounce back? Or do you roll the dice with Hawkins, see if a fresh face can inject some life into that offense?
Man, the pressure must be immense.
Talk about a crossroads. You're coming off a demoralizing loss, everyone's questioning your quarterback, and you're staring down the barrel of one of the toughest schedules in college football.
It's sink or swim time in Norman.
No doubt about it. As for Tennessee, can they bottle this up? Can they carry this momentum forward?
That defense, if they keep playing like that.
They're legit. A legit threat to run the table. It's funny, we came into this deep dive talking about Oklahoma's big SEC debut. And suddenly it's Tennessee who's got everyone's attention. Maybe they're contenders all along, huh?
That's college football for you. That's why we love it.
Absolutely. Unpredictable. Full of twists and turns you never see coming. And this game, well, this game was a prime example. High stakes, An emotional revenge narrative and a defensive performance for the ages. Hard to top that.
Can't wait to see what happens next. Thanks for diving into it with me.
Anytime. It's only going to get wilder from here.